Welcome in, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This evening to Instructions for Humanity, Sphere of Consciousness. We got a lot to get into. I'm going to go ahead and look at the chat here. Welcome in, everyone. Sister Sonia, Renita, Barbara, Valine. Welcome in, everyone. The Master Resurrection. Welcome in. Tortilla? Welcome in. Guys, it's about to get very interesting. Someone please be sound police. Please let me know if the sound is okay. Sister Sonia, if you can do that for me, that'd be great. Or if anyone else can do that for me, that would be great. I love it when a plan comes together. The source codes are back. Therefore, we are diving into another psychic investigation. I really truly feel that this is a continuation of the Charlie Kirk psychic investigation. Thank you very much. It's okay. Sound okay? Thank you, Renita. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, everyone. I got a vision. I want to make sure I deliver this message the correct way. There's a lot going on. There's a lot happening within the Trump world. And you know, I'm not a big fan of what's going on with Trump, but I got a prophetic vision early this morning, and I truly believe that Trump is being set up. He's being sent to the slaughterhouse. Thank you, Source. And that's going to be important. There's a lot of pieces to put together in this psychic investigation today. But nevertheless, what we're going to talk about is the vision that I had of Trump, of how they're trying to get rid of him before he does a certain thing that will bring us into a new law, into more of our sovereignty codes, and to stop the evil practice of trafficking that has been going on since Rome. This is the messages coming in today. I truly believe we are still under Roman law and under Roman control. And we're going to talk about, and I'm going to show you a few videos of the color of law, what law we are actually under. So let me properly introduce myself. We're going to dive into the psychic investigation. And I do have to thank, and guys, if you're not used to this, I am a psychic investigator and I'm a quantum healer. I specialize in quantum healing, telepathic hypnosis. So if you guys know like Dolores Cannon and the work that she does, I do very similar work. Mine is more geared towards source energy, God, and I'm in direct communion and communication with source. And the sessions are amazing. They are telepathic. I lead people to the past life so that they can learn the lesson of what it is that they need to learn in this lifetime so that they can get out of the karmic loop, the cycle of just repeating things that they wish no longer to go ahead and repeat. So guys, if you do want to book a session, there will be some links down below. If you have any questions, you can email me instructions4humanity@gmail.com. And so the first thing I want to say is, how did I even come into this knowledge and this revelation? Well, guys, if you know anything about the work that it is that I do, I follow something called the source codes. And the source codes are simply these little nuggets of what I call quantum drips. Quantum drips are little aha moments, right? They're little key codes to consciousness. And some people call them like, I just had a calling, a knowing, right? If you have that deep knowing or that deep discernment. You can say I'm following all of those things. And I happen to call them the source codes. My entire life plays out like a movie. I receive the source codes directly from source God, and just by living my everyday life, and I know how to put the pieces together, what fits where, and then I'm able to determine what it is that humanity is passing through or transiting through so that we can heal and get off of this death and destruction path. They've had us on this since eons. And the reason why I need to know these things is because we have an opportunity to get out of their loop, to get out of their cycle. There is a major energy shift that is happening between this year, ending of the 9, and the new beginning next year, where we have the capability to literally get rid of ancestral curses, strongholds, even patterns within our own, life and life's cycles. So this is a very important time in history. And so as Mother of the Ages, my spiritual name, I'm literally brought about during these times where we're going through these major transitions so that I can help the earth people let go of the lower third, the things that no longer serve them. And we make sense of the last age. And then I move us to a higher level of consciousness, starting on a higher vibration. And the more we do that throughout the ages, the more we return back home to source, which is beyond creation, because you are beyond creation. Now let's go ahead and get started. And please, guys, keep a lookout for the audio. If anything glitchy happens, then you just know it ain't me. You just know it's the message and the source codes that we are about to deliver this evening. Okay, so how did I come about understanding this? The Vatican took Trump out. I'm just going to say it. And there's a lot of information to kind of dive into. So the first thing I do want to tell you guys is this, is that probably 5 nights ago, I was just minding my own, girl, just resting, and I just fell asleep. And it was interesting because this was in the middle of the night. I woke up with a very strong knowing that I just literally received information of a past life, right? And I knew this with my entire gut. I said, I was her in a past life. Now I need to tell you about this because she, the past me, is actually the one who brought this into my field of awareness so that I could even follow the codes. Remember, I talk about the soul fragments, right? This is not necessarily a fragment. However, because I had awareness of her being me in a past life, we can look at this like one of my fragments brought this to me. And to be honest with you, I think that she brought it to me because there's something that she saw that she also needs to heal from. And you're going to understand when I tell you about this. So let me tell you the past life memory that led to us understanding that Trump has been replaced and he's been taken out and deleted by the Vatican, and that human trafficking is actually legal. And I'm going to show you the law, the color of law that actually makes it legal, and how we need to get out of their loop. Otherwise, this will continue to happen to humanity. And it's not just the trafficking. See, what I found out is that slavery is actually a form of human trafficking. And all of this is still legal. This is what we're going to talk about. So let me tell you the dream. So here's the dream I had, my past life memory. I was in the Czech Republic, right? So something happened in the Czech Republic. I was about 26 years old. I wasn't married. I was a Caucasian woman. And there was some sort of war or even famine that was breaking out. And to be honest with you, people were fleeing. Not sure what year this was in, but it felt like it was, back when America was still, bringing over or not had yet brought over slaves, but maybe they were just starting that whole thing. So there was something going on in the Czech Republic. Now, mind you, when I looked up the Czech Republic, I believe they speak French there. Anyone who knows me, I've always had an affinity for the language, Francais. I've been to France like 4 times. I just always felt a energetic pull there. And I just love the French language. It just feels it just feels normal to me, right? And so that was kind of something that just raised my eyebrow, right? Where I knew, okay, I think I'm like connected to this. So let me tell you what happened to her. So I had an awareness that her name was Lisa, but it wasn't just Lisa. It was a French version of Lisa. I immediately thought of Lisa Bonet, right? We know Lisa Bonet, the actress, right, from the Cosby Show. But it felt like it had some sort of Lisa and then some sort of French essence that followed it, right? And so I was like, yes, she definitely is a French speaker. This woman was in the Czech Republic. And I saw something break out where people literally had to scatter. They had to leave there for whatever reason. It was not safe. So Lisa was very afraid. And the very interesting thing is how she found out where to go. I'm going to tell you how she found out where to go and how to be safe. So back in American slavery, so the women would braid their hair a certain way. And this would actually show escape routes to like when they were going to be leaving, how they were going to be escaping, where they were going to be going. Well, it's very interesting that kind of something similar was going on in the Czech Republic, but these escape routes showed up as murals around the city and almost as if I want to use the word hieroglyphs. I really want to use the word hieroglyphs, although it wasn't like the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, but these kind of these hieroglyphs were more of like pictures, murals, statues around the city. And I believe they were placed there to quietly speak to specifically the women and children. So if anything shall happen, this is how you need to find safe passage. So she was able to see that and understand that she needed to flee. Where was she going to flee to? She was going to flee to America. I saw an image of her getting on a slave ship. And it was very interesting that the slave ship had a cross. I had awareness that the slave ship had a cross on the back. And it was very interesting because something that was coming through a few weeks back is that I had awareness I was on the Mayflower. And it was very interesting when I looked up, slave ships with a cross. Two things came up. Well, actually, a few. There was actually a slave ship called Jesus something other, the Mayflower, and Hispaniola. Hispaniola showed up. So I'm not sure if I got on Hispaniola or did I sail to the island of Hispaniola first, which would be present day, probably Dominican Republic, that area, Haiti over there, Hispaniola. But it felt like I was on a slave ship. And this is how I found safe passage here to America. And I believe that it was that incident that took, because I've had a lot of incarnations in a lot of my past lives that I remember. I've had a lot of those incarnations in Europe. I've had a lot in Rome, to be, particular, specific rather. But I think it was that travel and whatever Lisa, I'm going to use her as if she's someone else because she is. I'm not Lisa, but it was the past life version of my soul and what she went through that brought this to me. And I think it was the experience she had that actually led my soul to now incarnating on this side in the Americas. Because before that, a lot of my incarnations had been in ancient Mesopotamia and then in ancient, Kemet, modern day Egypt, that region, Iraq, and all of those regions, and then in Europe. And then now, my newest incarnations are happening here in America. So, and then Atlantis before that. So and Lemuria. So I think I've gotten around. I think I may be on the last leg of things here, but nevertheless, what she pointed out to me, she was on the slave ship, and the interesting, paralleling thing about it is that on the surface of the slave ship, she found safe passage. There was a cross, standing for Christianity. standing for sailing off to this new world, standing for hope. But on the bottom of the ship were the slaves in chains, and they were being moved over the waters. So at the top, she was safe, but at the bottom, what was happening underneath, the polarity was that her safety was someone else's captivity. And so I think that truly, truly came through very, very deeply. So this, past life memory was a few days ago or so, right? Then it was very interesting. I was driving today, and I was at an area that I'm normally not at, right? And I want to pull this up because this is how the source code. So my life is a source code. So most people would just be like, "Oh, that's cool. I have a past life memory." But I knew that wasn't it. There was something else. And I want to bring that up. So when I was driving, I literally, oh wow, it's about to get good. When I was driving, I was in an area that I normally am not at. And I started to turn the corner, and then I saw a cross, a wooden cross. It reminded me of the slave ship with the wooden cross on the back of it. And so something stopped me. And I just sat there at that light at that corner. And the source energy was, that's a code. So I took a picture of it. And guess what? On the cross, because I think someone had passed away on that cross intersection, right? On that cross, it had the name Lisa. And then it had June on there. You guys know that I'm a Cancerian. June is my birthday month. That right there, that hit different. When the source codes hit, it's a different energy. I said, this is Lisa leading me to something. I had awareness that I was about to break a major code, a major, major source code. So now it gets really, really interesting because I want to bring up where I was. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and they were like, "Well, where were you?" And I was like, "I was on this street called Aboit, right? I was on this street called Aboit." So listen, this is Lisa talking to me, the past life version of myself. I was on the street of Aboit. I saw the wooden cross, the same cross I saw on the ship. Then it had Lisa on it. It had June on it, which is my birthday month. Then the street name, I went to the street name, and guess what it says? It's a French Canadian word. What did I say? This was Czech Republic, where they speak French. I've always had an affinity for French. And so that was another source code. This is the quantum drift leading me to the little aha moments. Yes, this is true. This is true. This is true. Right? And so then I looked up what the word means. So this Aboit, the street that I was on, where Lisa had passed away, some Lisa, not obviously past life Lisa, unless it was past life Lisa. Interesting. It may be past life Lisa. But here's the thing. It may be past life Lisa. That's hidden now. That's hidden. So here's the thing. Get this, what Aboit means, the French version of it. It means slaughterhouse. What did I say? She was on the boat sailing to safety, but she had awareness that there was a duality playing out, that she was on a cargo, a ship carrying live cargo that we call slaves, but it ain't nothing than old-fashioned human trafficking. It's what I found out. And we're going to dig into that. And this is why Trump has been switched. I saw it. I'm going to show you the prophetic. I'm going to tell you the prophetic vision. So we got a French word. I was on a French street, right, where I saw Lisa. I saw the cross, and it means slaughterhouse. She wants me to know something about slaughterhouse. And so I was talking to my friend, And then she mentions something about ice. And I'm like, what? That just hit different. The moment ice came out and I was literally looked this word up, that's another, I was like, aha, it has something to do with not just ice, but when we think about what ice is doing, it's the removal of this illegal, aliens or even people that have been in this country for a very long time, but it's the removal. But remember I said a few months ago that I got a message that some of these people are not returning. Some of these people are being trafficked. That is what I said a few months ago. And so now that comes back around. When I hear the word ICE, I said, oh boy, nuh-uh, this hits different. There's something going on. And I'm not saying that we're not sending these people back, but my question is, who's waiting for them on the other side? Are they truly getting back to the friends and family that the house they left 30 years ago or 10 years ago? Or are they going somewhere else first and then they're now being trafficked? Hold on to that. That came through very, very clearly. So it was, in fact, past life Lisa, past life me, that was Lisa that brought this code to me. And I think that there's something that she needs to heal, AKA me, needs to heal from. Now I'm going to go into the vision and then I'm going to show you rather, how we've been operating on a Roman law. And this is why. This is why they have to stop Trump. This is why the Vatican has stopped him, will stop him. It's very multidimensional because technically, the law that we're under still allows for this. Okay, so now what I want to do, I'm going to read the vision that I had. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. So here is the first part of the vision. And I said, I saw the most frightening image of Trump. He was discombobulated. It was like someone rolled him up like a hot dog or a sausage, and they were carrying him out. So I don't know if this means that he will be removed, but then in the next image, I was shown him ripping off his face. And what I saw, it was scary and it was very, very disturbing. So he was like someone was carrying him out like a human hot dog, like they rolled him up and he just looked discombobulated, distressed. Like it was like someone was saying, get rid of him, get the pig in the blanket. You know how you put the hot dog in the blanket in the bread? He looked like that, like alive, like a person, but pig in a blanket. But I had awareness that they wanted to get rid of him. And then in the next scene, I saw him being in distress and he just started ripping off of his face, the Trump face, right? And underneath the Trump's face, now this is where when you read energy, this is when that kicks in. Underneath the Trump face, it wasn't Trump's face. However, I can't point out in particular what I saw, but rather what I knew with my clairsentience or what I felt through my clairsentience, right? Claircognizant, what I knew through my claircognizant or what I felt through my clairsentience. I had awareness that this, when he ripped that face off, who was underneath? It was the Pope. And I said, this is Pope Francis. There's no if, there's no ands. I'm very clear about what it is that the awareness brought me to. This awareness is the consciousness, the quantum drips is source, right? So it was Pope Francis. And then I happened to look up, I just wanted to look at his face. And then it was very interesting that I saw that he passed away in April of this year. I got an eerie feeling that possibly he's the one who body hopped into Trump. Remember, I kept saying, even back during the psychic investigation, remember I said that this is not Trump? I kept saying it. I didn't have anything definitively, but it's just that awareness, that knowing. I said, Trump has been replaced. This ain't him. He's not here. I saw that whoever is playing Trump, it looked and felt like Pope Francis. Now, remember last year, if you guys remember, that I had a lot of run-ins with the Queen of England, Elizabeth. When these people die, girl, they don't just die, they multiply. They are not human. If you've been on this channel, we've broken down. I remove entities for a living, reptilians, grays, demons, I don't care what it is. If they're not of the light, even if they are, they got to be removed because you are sovereign. But the problem with the Pope, what I found, and the problem with Queen Elizabeth is because they place themselves in high places where they are the sovereign. And when we get into the video, I'm going to explain to you why you do not have sovereignty and why your citizenship gives them legal status to traffic you. And this is what Lisa, past life Lisa, brought me to. She's making peace with her experience on the slave ship, because she had awareness about something we're going to get into, maritime law. She was experiencing maritime law in real time, human trafficking being legal, because we are still on the Roman system. This is what all of the source codes have brought into me, right? So this was Pope Francis. So he died, get it? They say he died in April, but remember he went missing back in March. No one knew. And I said, this man is already dead. They didn't announce and say he died until like, I think April 21st, but this man was already dead. But they don't die, they multiply. And when we get in more to the source codes, you're going to understand what I'm saying. So now get this. So then at the same time I saw the face coming off of Pope Francis, right? I also saw a number. I saw the numbers 3 and 6. 3 and 6. I said, no, that's weird. But it's the aha. I knew it was a code. And so then I looked up when Trump was tearing his face off to expose Pope Francis' energy, the number 36. Felt like it's a part of a ritual that they have done, or that rather they will still carry out, or both, right? And when I looked up Pope Francis' birthday, girl, why was he born on December 17th, 1936? 36. And if you notice, a lot of people have been talking about December 19th, December 18th or 19th, some sort of shift happening during that time. Well, this is very interesting that this will be his born date. This will be around the time of his born date that this major shift is going to be happening. When we think about the resurrection, right? And we think about, dying for 3 days, Jesus dying for 3 days and then being resurrected, right? And then now I'm telling you, this Pope energy and his birth date, his born date is literally around the time where they say December 18th and 19th, or where humanity is going to experience one of the most magnificent shifts. This is a ritual, and his consciousness, his spirit, whatever demons or whatever these people work with, or things that work through them, rather. This is all a ritual, because remember, they do collective spell work over the collective. We've caught it in the last psychic investigation. It's no different here, because if you thought that that one was big, no, this one is much bigger. So that's just another data point. Then he actually passed away at the age of 88. What do I always say about the number 8? The number 8 represents the loop. We've been on a loop for eons. And how they loop us back around is when they get us involved in all of these agendas. They channel your collective energy through voting, through negative vibrations of the news, secular cycles, these rituals and holidays, which are actually pagan, right? This is what they do. This is all to move collective energy from point A to point B, to move it to the Pope's altar. This is what came up. Source ain't never lied. Men lie, women lie, spirit just don't lie. And so 88. So it's like a double loop. So if you look at the meta sign looks like the number 8, but it's turned to the side. This is the infinity loop. This is what humanity has been on. If you think about duality, in the last video, yesterday's video, we learned about the father of duality, where it outlines in this book, guys, pick it up, The Great Expansion, a Cosmic Bible for the Ages. There's a link down below to purchase it. I channeled this book with Source God, so it has everything that you need to know about what is happening and why it's happening. We are headed to a very beautiful world. They have to trick you into the death and destruction, because that is how all of their endings end, because it's for a ritual. So they must always have a sacrifice at the end. That's what they want to do to humanity. And I found, we're going to get to it, a lot of us are on Pope Francis' altar. It's not just the Pope Francis, the whole conglomerate system. This is what they do. They put us and they place us on their altar. One of their altars, believe it or not, the stock market, where your birth certificate is traded back and forth. This is a collective energy. These birth instruments, I wouldn't even be surprised if the death certificates are also part of the big stew ritual to harness the energy of humanity, to keep us lowered in frequency, where we never outgrow the master. Remember that. That's coming through very, very clearly. So that is what I want to say on that. But it feels as if the 3, the 6, if you add 3 plus 6, that's 9. What do I always talk about? The 369. The 369 is energy, frequency, and vibration, representing, the Trinity as well, representing the energies that the entire universes and cosmos are all created and birthed from. So this is a very powerful way to manifest with the 369. Something with that, they're using some sort of 369, putting our energy at their altar, at the Pope's altar. I saw it. And I think something is going to happen. He's going to do some ritual, because remember, none of these people are dead. They're all entities. They're entities. They have entities running them, their vessels, right? And so just watch out for that. Something else I wanted to point out, when I saw the ripping off of the face, Trump's face, there's something interesting that happened after the Pope was exposed energetically. I saw beings come up out of a cold place. It felt like they were coming up out of a mountainous place. It almost feels like, the Caucasus Mountains, right? That people talk about, It felt like a very cold place. There were these beings, and it feels like they weren't beings, guys. It almost feels like they're living. You know how you see the aliens, the cone heads? Remember back in the day, they had the cone head like movie, but the cone heads technically are aliens. That's what it looks like. It feels like once whatever they do to Trump, whatever they're trying to do to Trump, it feels like the energy field opens up. And when this Pope energy, and the Pope is representing the Vatican is representing the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is representing the communion with the draconian reptilians. They have contracts together. Do you see how big and massive this is, and why it's much bigger than the Charlie Kirk situation? So whatever they do to Trump, I am telling you, there is beings that come up to the surface. And I saw these beings, but they looked like humans. It's just that they had cone heads, right? And some were Caucasian. And then I saw a few that were actually Black as well. So I don't know if these will be the first species that humanity will know about as aliens, but they will look a lot like humans. The only difference is their head will be literally in a shape of a cone. And I think all of these things are hidden under the Vatican. See, when, thank you, source ain't never lied. When the energy was revealed, because he was cloaking like Trump, but when the energy was revealed that it was him, I also saw things that they were hiding. They are hiding alien races. And to be honest with you, these feel like beings that have maybe even been living underground amongst us, alongside of us, underneath us for some time. It feels as if they come to the surface. And so making us understand that outer space may just be down under, and all around us. And maybe even just a shift in our perspective and consciousness. That's coming through very, very clearly. So now, what I want to say, and then we're going to go into the law that we've been operating. And I'm telling you why they can human traffic and why slavery, and this is what Lisa was, these are the codes she brought. Slavery is human trafficking. And it's still going on today. We just call it human trafficking. Slavery and human trafficking is combined. Okay, so then I saw this. I saw Pope Francis, because what happened was I started to now go into light language. I started to speak in tongues. If you're from the church, speak in tongues, but we call it light language now. And when I did that, something very powerful happened. All of the messages just started coming through, and I was disgusted on what I felt, on what the images that I saw. Was disgusted. I saw Pope Francis. It said, Pope Francis, the trafficker of souls. He has our names written on his dark altar of distress. So if you've ever been in distress, just know that our names are on their dark altar. The altar is an altar of distress. I said, he's a warlock that has been doing witchcraft on the collective and individually. Within the circuit breaker energy, there was a circuit coming up. Interesting that we think about circuit, we think about electricity. We also think about like energy. We also think about circuits, and we also think about a circuit breaker is like a main panel that controls electricity to a lot of different places. So when this Pope energy or Vatican energy is exposed, why must we have this Pope that rules all? I'm going to tell you why that is. Because we're still operating under Roman law. We are not sovereign. We are subjects by our citizenship. And we're going to get into a video about that. But I said, and this is the words that came out during the light language, Pope Francis, the trafficker of souls. So just know, a lot of souls have been trafficked, not in just this realm. Some have been stolen and trafficked here. This is what past life me, Lisa, brought to me. Pope Francis, trafficker of souls. He has our name written on his dark altar of distress. He's a warlock that's been doing collective witchcraft on the collective and individually within the circuits. Think about the circuits. It's also courts. They have this like circuit courts and all of that. So this is how they are operating within law. How is he doing this? He's doing it within the law. Source ain't just never lied. But this circuit breaker energy, the circuit will break. We will see the lights go off, or rather the true light be shined on this. See, Source told me before, I wanted to tear down the religious lies, but Source said, wait, I'm going to remove one lie. And after I remove that one lie, this will be your sign that it's okay to now unravel this thing that we call religion, because religion is hiding God from you. It's literally separating you from yourself. You have God consciousness, God source energy running through your veins. You are one with it, and it is one with you. There isn't any way to be separate from self, but they can trick you and do witchcraft and keep you on their altars of distress and say and put themselves in high places, so that you're looking to them for your salvation and not looking to God, to source, to Jesus, Yeshua HaMashiach. You're not looking in those places because your government is your God. They have ordained, oh no, the Pope is the head of all this stuff. So unintentionally, subconsciously, this is where your energy is actually flowing to. When you go to those altars of distress, and a lot of these churches, see, they're all on this 501c or whatever that law is, where they have to talk about certain things. They have to omit certain things in the Bible so they can get their tax credit that's given to them by the Queen of England. Even though she's supposed to be passed away, she's still a witch and she's still body hopping to this day. And poor Kate Middleton is one of her accessories. Sometimes she just hops in and wears her like an accessory. I digress on that. But this is what I'm saying. This is what these people are doing to us. And this is why I was able to see so much when I had awareness that, no, this is the Pope. This leads back to the Vatican. This leads, all roads lead to Rome. You know the saying, all roads lead to Rome. I am telling you, and me and my spirit team, we spent, a few months back, we spent probably at least 10, 15, maybe even 20 hours doing a massive healing over Rome and actually helping the Christ get free, because it found out that he's still energetically enslaved and they must keep the Christ enslaved. And I'm sorry if you never heard about this. Source consciousness just oozes through my veins and my vessels, and we're going to get proper teachings and instructions for humanity, because the churches have been hiding God, because they're all looped in with the same entities that are keeping you separate from thy source, from your sustenance. I've lost what I was even going to say, but see, I'm telling you that the separation is a lie because they have to keep you on the waters. We're going to get into it. We've been in a law that has to do more with being on the water than being on the land. And this is why trafficking is legal. Slavery is too, moving you from point A to point B, because you've been moved on ships and vessels. You've been under the law that moves you on water. Because when you are truly on land, you are sovereign. None of our laws are set up to be on land. It all leads back to being on water. And they have it like that for a reason. This is how they, so to speak, escape their karma. Well, they tell you, you got to follow the rules of the land. That's even in the Bible. Some of this stuff they put in there, the demon put in there to keep you a slave, to keep you trafficked. Not just in this life, but your soul is under a dark contract with these beings, with the popes of the world and the queen lizards of the world. You have to know this, because until we get back on the land, and Source said this weeks ago, my children are land dwellers. Maybe this is why Source was saying that. We have to get out of this law that they have us in, because as long as we are in this law, maritime law, they have the right to move us and traffic us over the water. And this is also too why Jeffrey Epstein got away with it. I'm telling you, it was legal for him to do so because he had an island. Once you move something over water, the cargo, you took them out of their sovereign status off of the land, and they became literally just cargo, is what I'm saying. So we're about to get to that. But what else I got about Pope? Their circuit will break, or circuits will break. This will stop. He wants to go after Trump because Trump was getting in the way of the trafficking. Now, what you guys have to understand, and even I fell victim to it too, a lot of this stuff they're saying about Trump and the Epstein Island, I'm not saying that all of it is fake, but some of it is fake, so that they placed Trump on the crime scene, like they did Diddy, even though everybody was Diddy bopping, everybody was doing the Diddy at these parties, but they placed him there for the fall guy. They want to place Trump's face as the fall guy, but no, Trump's face came off. What was behind it was the Vatican, the Pope. And the Pope and the Queen Elizabeth and Queen Charles and all the aristocrats around the world. I don't care what race and religion and what continent. They're all in on it together, because none of these leaders, I don't even care if they're Black leaders, none of them are human. You cannot be a human operating within your sovereignty and be a leader of a nation. They won't allow it. Either you're completely bought and paid for, therefore you are subject to these beings, or you actually are one of these beings. So they want to pin a lot of this stuff on Trump. This is what I saw. It's the awareness that I got, so that he becomes the face of it. So you look no further. Same thing. We fell for it with Diddy. We didn't look further. They want to do the same thing with Trump. So we look no further. But if we peel back Trump's face, we're going to see the Pope. We're going to see the Vatican. We're going to see Queen Elizabeth and all of the houses of, of the royals and all of that. That is who we see. These are the people. And even those people answer to a higher set of people. And these people aren't people. The ones that the popes and that the Vaticans and the, the Rothschilds and the Vanderbilts and the Queen and King and Princess of England, they answer to a higher order. And these higher orders are not of flesh and blood. They are literally hybrid, half human and half something else, mostly reptilian in nature. So that's the hierarchy. And because the people that the Pope and that the queens and kings of the world answer to, they have to eat. What do they eat? They eat flesh. They eat energy. They have to feed them. So what they do is they siphon and cycle all of your energy into these religious houses, into the politics, into these collective spaces, into the arenas built like Rome, because they understand if we put you in an arena, go to a concert or a game or a basketball or football, it doesn't, a baseball, it does not matter. They will be able to suck and siphon your energy. And then they will pay these athletes an astronomical amount of money because they are the vessel that they are using to take and siphon from you. It goes from those said, singers, musicians, sports players. It goes from them, cycles back up through the various governments, cycles back up to the Vatican, to the kings and queens, and then they feed their hybrid mother and father that they work for. And they don't eat food like we eat. They eat off energy and loosh and your trauma. This is why the Pope has an altar of distress. I could drop the mic. Source can drop the mic on that. Source can drop the mic on that. So here's what I'm saying. This is what they're eating. I said, he's in the business of eating humans, eating wisdom, human consciousness, human energy, tied into Italy, the fall of Rome. This is what I was getting. We were always going to get here because we're at the end of the age. The loop is ending. And see, this is why he had to, so to speak, pass away before this ending of December, the end year, the 9, because they're going to recycle him. They're going to revive him. They're going to resurrect him during this time with the 369 ritual. Because his birth, he was born 1936. What is that? That's 9, and that's a 10, and a 19 cycles back to 1. If you add his birthday up, I think it cycles back to 1, and we are entering into 2026. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1, a 1 vibrational year. And so he fits the codes. They always put people in place that fit a code. And this is why Source needed people like me, people like us on this channel. We have to be holding the light on the other end of the codes, because we got all of these sick people using the codes for rituals to put us on altars of distress. So he was born in 1936. Let me confirm that. 1936. So 1 plus 9 plus 3 plus 6 is 19. 1 plus 9 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So he fits the code. Do you see what I've been talking about at the end of the age, which lasts for over 2,100 years? And they have to do it in a vibrational year of the 9. Because then every time we reset to 1, year 10 starts 1 over again. There's only numbers 1 through 9. And then you got the master numbers of 3, 6, 9, which actually run the vibrational code of this whole multi-sphere. Energy, frequency, vibration. So now here's the thing. He fits the code. So then we got light workers over here. We now know he fits the code. So now we know what to go in and what to heal. And what we have to do is to expose this energy. We have to call for the fall of the Maritime law, which we're going to get into, giving legal status to move people through human trafficking, slavery, over water, taking them out of their sovereignty codes because they are not a man on the land, a natural man, because your birth certificate gave them the right to do that. And this is what we're about to get into. So he fits the code. So just know, when we get ready to have our new beginning in year 1, the energy that will try to stop us will be the Vatican Pope energy. And this is a massive energy. So now we know what we need to pray about. What did Source say yesterday? Said, you don't even know what you need to pray about until you have set within the quiet, into the stillness, through the meditation, or rather just the listening, just the breathing and existing with the empty spaces in between all living things, the largest mathematical equation that has ever existed and that will ever exist, which is Source. And so now we know our prayers. Now we have instructions for humanity. Now we know what to pray. Now we know what to fast about, going in from the year of the 9 into the new year, the 1 vibration, because this joker here will be having us on the altar of distress. And this is why we have been sent to tear down their altars. Okay, so that is the first thing that I want to say. Now, I'm going to tell you of why Lisa, past life Lisa, brought this to me, because she experienced this trafficking energy when she was in distress. She found her way onto the Mayflower, onto a slave ship. She was getting freed. I don't think that she became free. I really don't. Now, I don't think she became free. At first, when I saw the vision, I thought she was taken care of, but now in my consciousness is saying she was also trafficked. She was trafficked. So that being my past life self, I was trafficked here from the Czech Republic. And now we understand the slaughterhouse, which the street I was on when I saw the cross, the wooden cross of Lisa's name on it. And I saw the June being my birth date, my birth month. She was leading me to understand that that street meant slaughterhouse. This is where they're leading people to. Anytime you go on the waters, we're being sent to the slaughterhouse. And we know who's behind it. I just said it. It is not Trump. Actually, Trump is trying to stop a lot of this, even though it looks chaotic. I told you guys, this ain't Trump. They want you, they want to present him a certain way. Now, is Trump still ain't nothing. He's still crazy. He's still, demented. He's still all of that stuff. And he's still rude as all heck. And he's still, operating within a lot of interesting racist, prejudice things that he says. But I'm telling you what, he's not. He's not the one leading this full thing. He's actually getting in the way. Much like Charlie Kirk wanted to play a big man's game. Look what I can do, Trump. He didn't know that Trump didn't want him to start to expose the Israel lie. And so he did it. And now he has his company siphoned from him. It's now become a ward of the United States of America. In a way, Trump is having that same thing happen to him. He didn't understand that they need to continue the maritime law, aka the trafficking and the slavery, because they have to feed their overlords, which are not human. They eat off of energy. Where do you think all these missing people go? These children, the people go missing all the time. They're led to the slaughterhouse. We got to get off of this law that I'm about to show you guys. Because until we do that, trafficking will continue. Slavery will happen. We will not be sovereign. We will be sold back and forth on the dark web through the selling of our birth certificates. I'm hearing death certificates too. Even the stock market is one of their dark altars that they use and they manipulate. And so getting off of this law is the answer to gaining our sovereignty and getting out of their loops. On this channel, we are breaking all of their tools. Source said within this book that one thing is Mother of the Ages of what I would get to do. She said something about we will open the tops and open the lids and pluck them out one by one out of their hiding spaces, talking about their religious houses. This is the words that I channeled, what Source said, what we would do, what I would do as Mother of the Ages, pluck them out of their hiding spaces. Source says we will open the top and open the lid and pluck them out. Pluck them out. And this is what we're doing. This is the first step to plucking them out. I'm gonna tell you what to do with your money in a moment. Now, mind you, let me just say that now. You have to keep in mind, everything is being digitized. Money in the bank is just paper. Everything is being tokenized. Right now, there is an underbelly happening in our government. They are switching, and Bitcoin is becoming the reserve that they're going to use to settle the debt. The trillions of dollars, they're going to use Bitcoin. A lot of these X coins are going to be used for the new financial system. Everything has a duality to it. So yes, there are good points and there are bad points, but paper dollars will not stand. They've already got the pennies out of circulation. Stores are already not giving you back their change. They're rounding up. So you're losing money. Everything is moving into the one world currency, which is all digital, all put on a blockchain. So as scary as that sounds, is also going to be even more scary to wake up one day and the banks have fallen and you don't have any tokens. You have no more freedom units. You have no coins to purchase anything. 95% of the world has not yet invested in crypto. The people who just have a little bit, and Source told me a long time ago, all you would need is $300 of XRP, and that will be enough. Now, mind you, this is having a long-term, mindset, because the XRP is going to reform the banks. It's going to take place in the banks, used for bank transfers. The XLM will be used for peer-to-peer transfers. HBAR will be very important. A lot of these other, I think, Linkcoin, there's a lot of other things coming up. And me and my friend were talking the other day, and we're working on the concept. Now, this is not what Source said. This is just something that we kind of got, that we think that when we look at the 4X, right? We're looking at a lot of the X coins, but also we got to remember we have a Forex market, which actually moves currencies. You can trade, buy and sell currencies, Forex, and make money. I'm kind of getting the vibe that I think Dogecoin and Shiba might become our new pennies. Everything's digital. So if you want to pay in something, this might be behind the scenes. If your bill is 1949, Shiba appears maybe to be the pennies. Dogecoin might be the new dollar, or it might be the new quarter, or whatever. A lot of these coins, I'm telling you, will be dollars and cents on the Forex exchange. So we will no longer be trading physical currencies back and forth. We will be trading the coins. And if you don't have any, then you're going to be, you're not going to be at the top of the food chain. The system is resetting. Your money in the bank will not save you. I think it's smart to have a mixture and to, spread things out. Having some money at home, maybe a little money in the bank, in the right bank, having some coins, having the top, some of the top 5 and top 10 cryptos, having a basket of things, becoming self-sufficient, going back to the land. Source made it very clear. My children are land dwellers. Going back to the land. See, thank you. Thank you for asking this question, Angelic Starseed. This is what Source is saying. See, they had to get you in center blocks. They had to get you into the city because they legally can't touch you on your land, because you have something called a, what's that? It's a tax credit that you get in your first house, not your second house. It's a specific tax credit that you get. Your homestead. This is what having land used to be, your homestead. If we all go back to buying land, building brick by brick, this is what is going to save us and bring us back into our sovereign status. We have to have land. And I'm thinking we have to have some acreage of land, at least a few acres of land. I'm hearing 4. So that's the tip, from Source. Okay. Thank you so much. So now let's get to the money system and the trafficking system that we've been on since the days of Rome. Guys, let's get into that. Guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. All right. So here we go. And please, someone let me know if you can hear this okay.
Hey guys, Ben Barlow, Your Rights, Your Life. Hey, I want to touch base with you on how they trapped us into Admiralty Maritime Law. So let's work through this. In 1932, they turned every hospital into a foundling hospital. A foundling hospital is a location which now includes police departments, fire departments, CPS, Department of Family Services. They turn them all into foundling locations. A foundling location is where you can go, anyone can go up and drop their kids off with no retribution against them, without breaking the law, and just give up their kids. So every hospital got turned into a foundling hospital in 1932. In 1933, they created the birth certificate process. In that birth certificate process, it turned you from you were born as a sovereign, like our founding fathers fought for their independence to become sovereign instead of citizens. The 1933 birth certificate process turned you back into a citizen. And this whole entire time that we've been through the school system, what I call the public indoctrination centers, they've indoctrinated us into thinking that citizenship is the next best thing to apple pie and baseball, and we should be so proud of our citizenship. But what they didn't tell you is that it was a yoke around your neck. It trapped you under Admiralty Maritime Law. And I'm going to go into a multiple part series to help you understand what they did and how they did it. This is just the first part. Citizenship is a yoke around your neck. Citizenship, what that stands for, city is municipal, zen is servant. So as a citizen, you are a municipal servant to the state being government, the federal government. You are a federal United States citizen. So now I want you to think about something, because this is what it comes down to. Washington, D.C. is where the federal government's at. Washington, D.C. is not a part of the United States. Washington, D.C. is a territory. It's not even owned by the United States. It's owned by the corporation that runs the United States of America, that holds its allegiance and loyalty to the Vatican and to the crown. It's not our government. It's their government. So,
did you hear that? He said that Washington, D.C. is a territory. It holds their allegiance to the Vatican and the crown. He just co-signed the message. This is what you call a verifying the message. Any message can be proven outside of itself. There will always be something to come in and verify. Because I got that message, last night, right? Or early this morning, and I just saw this video right before I came on here. Let's continue.
Being a citizen, you are a citizen that is loyal to the crown and the Vatican. Let that sink in for a minute, because you got to understand what that means. You are a United States citizen, which is a federal citizen. You don't even live where you think you live. You reside where you're at. You actually are living in Washington, D.C., and all your records are located in Washington, D.C. in the library. So think about that. You are here to incur debt.
Wow. There's a part 2, guys. Did you hear that? Washington, D.C. ain't even part of the U.S. It's a territory. So when you pay your taxes, where's it going? What did I just say? The Vatican, the Pope, the Catholic Church, the Queens and King of England. These people have to feed their overlords. Their mother and father, which are hybrids, they do not eat of the food that we eat. They have to have us enslaved. Our energy, our bodies, they have to control what we think, because they have to pay their overlords. This is what I am saying. We've not been governed ever. We've been trafficked, siphoned. Part 2.
Hey guys, Ben Barlow, Your Rights, Your Life. This is part 2 of how they trapped us into Admiralty Maritime Law. I want you to consider everything is a shipping war in commerce. And they've trapped us into Admiralty Maritime Law, which is commerce and contracts. So think of all of us as vessels, ships. And so as a vessel, your mother, being pregnant, had to go to the hospital. It's not a hospital. I want you to consider it a port. She's going to the hospital. In it being a port has to have a dock tender. Well, the doctor is the dock tender. The only one that is considered a doctor is the one that receives babies. All others are considered physicians and specialists. So your mother pulls up to the hospital, pulls up to the port to birth her ship, B-E-R-T-H. As she births her ship, the child is tugged through the birth canal, as in a tugboat, by the doctor, tugged through the birth canal, received by the dock tender as a cargo. The nurses come up to the mother. They have a handful of papers for the mother to sign. They are creating what's called a bill of lading. That is, the cargo needs a bill of lading so that they can determine what the cargo is. The mother is now signing as an informant to the cargo that is delivered. An informant, just like an informant that would inform the police about a drug dealer. The same thing plays in here. Your mother is informing on you to return you to the possession of the United States. So as she informs on you, the doctor has now received you as the dock tender. He signs right below her. She is the informant, he is the doctor, and then who comes in behind them is a registrar. The registrar signs underneath the doctors. You can look at your birth certificates, it's all on there. And then what happens, as he is registering the cargo, that it was received, that it is live. So what happens next is they take the placenta and the soul plates. The child has their feet stamped onto the live certificate of birth, but it's not soul plates as in S-O-L-E, what you and I would think it is. It's S-O-U-L, the actual soul, the spirit. The soul place in the placenta is then cast out to sea as if dead until it returns to claim its minor estate. We're going to go into part 3 in a minute. See you soon.
Guys, there's just so much for me to keep up with. But do you see how literally everything is about the water? The message I got the other day, I said something will happen where the water, there's like a water technology. Everything gets exposed. And this is part of the exposure of water. First, we got to look at what's on the surface of the water. What's on the surface of the water of what has been moved from point A to point B is us. We can't even get down to the depths of the ocean yet to get to our real technological advanced codes, to get back to the real Lemuria and Atlantis, going through the ocean portals, going back into our original soul bodies, because we were all birthed from those civilizations. And then I do believe we became fragmented after that fell. It did not fall. They shifted the magnetic sphere. I'm channeling all of this. They shifted the magnetic sphere, therefore cutting you off from true soul and spirit in right standing, taking you, your soul captive from the Lemuria and the Atlantis of the world, and now duplicating you, replicating you, slicing you through DNA slicing, and bringing you into the newfound lands. Source ain't never lied. Everyone became on a slave ship, and this is where the maritime law was birthed from. When they took your soul, thank you, Source. When they took your soul from the Atlantis and from Lemuria, everyone had a station. Either you were stationed in Lemuria or Atlantis. This is where your soul became here into this physicality. This is when this law was formed. They had to move you legally from your home that was through the ocean portals. They found a way to shift the magnetic sphere, dividing you from the true place of your sovereignty, where your physical sovereignty lies. So they found a way to shift the magnetic sphere, cutting you off from your bliss body, from your source body, being an embodied soul, cutting you off from that, introducing you into the newfound lands. Believe it or not, now I get to ancient Mesopotamia is the farthest that now what I understand, I go back, I trace my soul lineage back to ancient Mesopotamia into the Assyrian star system. However, I did have lifetimes and access to Atlantis and Lemuria, which, I told that story years ago of how I tried to come down to save Atlantis. And, there was someone that you guys met on this channel before. They were a little bit ahead of me. And I asked them, can we still save them? They said, no, it's too late. There's nothing we can do. I found out in this lifetime that was a lie. The person lied, did not want, because this person was working with the Dark Lords. I didn't know, with the reptilians. Didn't want me to go and save it. So they looked. We were like looking over into the Atlantis and what was going on. And they said, no, it's too late. There's nothing we can do. I found out in this lifetime that was a lie. And this is where the source codes really activated, because I've been working hard day and night to make sure we never have an Atlantis event. And I put that on myself for some time, because had I just taken a few more steps and not trusted this person, Atlantis would have been saved. Therefore, we would have never been able to be trafficked away. You see how dangerous it is when you trust someone? That's why Source says, trust no man and no woman. Only trust thyself. And I'm going to say, trust thy source codes. These is your own innate DNA. You have the codes inside of you. It's the 12-strand DNA. It's the junk DNA that they say is junk. No, those are your source codes. It leads you back to the original soul imprint. And now I'm understanding why Lisa had to reach me, because now our souls are coming full circle. because it's not so much just about me being taken from the Czech Republic, getting shipped and trafficked over water. That was one inkling of it, but the bigger trafficking is our soul essence has been trafficked from the Atlantis and Lemuria. And we will return back there in soul residue to gather up our fragments, our original spark. The spark that became first in physicality is in these lands. And so when you were taken from there, you were brought into the Newfoundland. So we could think about the Newfoundlands. Some people think that it's in Europe, right, or America, but no. All of these ancient civilizations that they say is the oldest, the ancient Mesopotamia, the ancient Kemet, which is modern day Egypt. No, those are new lands. They're not ancient. When we get back to where our original soul spark formed in physicality is Lemuria, is Atlantis, and these are located through the ocean portals. And there is a calling and a pulling, and they want to be recognized, right? And now I understand why tapping into your past lives, guys, is so important. Do not underestimate. There are aspects of you that are here to help present day you. Because it's not until we come back into complete wholeness that we actually get out of the loop. And so now let's carry on with part 3.
Write your life. This is part 3 as to how they trapped us into Admiralty Maritime Law. So we already know that the baby was born. It was the placenta, the blood of the placenta, and the soul plates, S-O-U-L, as in the spirit, the soul, was cast out to sea as dead until it returns to claim its minor estate. This is how they trapped us through that contract that your mother signed. You are the cargo was received, and now you went from sovereign to citizen, because as soon as what happened is they sent that bill of lading out, then in return, when you received the birth certificate, you'll notice that there was a stamp date on that birth certificate. So on the birth certificate was your mother's name, your father's name, the time that you were born, the name, your family given name. My name is Ben Thomas Barlow, so my family name is Ben. My given name is Ben, my family name is Thomas, my last name is Barlow. And when you got that birth certificate back, it had a stamp date. What you've got to understand is that stamp date was when they turned you into a citizen, and the citizen is just a corporation entity that they created in your all caps name. So as you look at your mail, when you get junk mail, it's upper and lowercase. When you get anything that has to do anything with money, billing, the judicial system, anything in the court comes to you in your all caps name. That is the vessel or the corporation, the entity that they created. That entity is not you. It's the fictitious you that they are coming after, that is trapped under Admiralty Maritime Law. Because keep in mind, in the judicial system, a corporation cannot sue a man, and a man cannot sue a corporation. They have to be of like kind, corporation to corporation or man to man. Man being mankind has nothing to do with gender. So by taking us out of the status of sovereign man or woman and turning us into little entity corporations, this is how these corporations can come after us, trap us in billing cycles, all kinds of other stuff. This is how the court system comes after us. They're coming after our entity and the trust that you guys don't know about yet, that I'll go into in a part 4. The trust that is in our name, that you can find out exactly how much money is in your trust. Everyone has their own individual trust. It's called the Cesta QV Trust. And it is actually bought and sold on the stock market every single day. Every single person has their own individual Cesta QV Trust. Every participating United Nations has.
Oh, he said a mouthful. Wow. I got to look for part 4, because we need to find out. See, this is how we're going to get our money, y'all. See, Source ain't never lied. I told you it's a new beginning. But if you don't know about this stuff, what did I say? We're sold back and forth in the stock market. What did I say? I said that in yesterday's video, Source was talking about all of their whole system runs off of death instruments, not debt. It is debt instruments like your mortgage, but we can look at this as death instruments. They've been making money. They have us in a trust because your name in all caps is a corporation. The United States of America is a corporation. When they add the word of America, this is the corporation. United States of America. That is a corporation. We have been under a different law where they literally have legal right to traffic you. They've been doing this back from since the days of Atlantis and Lemuria. And now what have we done? We have caught them. Look how many years it is taken to expose where their laws come from. Remember, we're not following these people. They're following us. Everything they got was stolen from us. And in fact, these people would be broke and they would be on welfare if it was not for our energy holding this whole system up. And in fact, they couldn't even make the billions and the trillions of dollars without us. They would not have people, or here, catch it, this is what sources say. It's not the people that they need. It's the energy that they need to put inside of the people that allows now the vessel to take off on water. What did I say? Your spirit consciousness is like water. The waters you are born with, no one understands how the water just breaks when your mom gives birth to you. You're just born with water. No one understands about the water. No one talks about it. It is spirit consciousness. It is access to the part of source that is feminine in nature. It is the remembrance of even the Atlantean and Lemuria timeline version of yourself, where your original spark came into physicality. I'm channeling all of this. You can't make none of this up. All started from an inkling within a past life memory in a dream. Most people would have said it's just a dream, but the dream hit different. And then the source code led me to Lisa, led me to the cross on the corner of the road. And then I looked up what the corner of the road meant that I was on, a Boyd, which means slaughterhouse. She had to escape over water. She was also trafficked. Even though they said that this is what you're going to do to find safety, now the energy says no, she was led astray and trafficked. When they move you over water, they legally have the right to traffic you. And now what we have to understand is what is going on with the people that I wanted to say the people they are removing, the people that they are deporting, but no, source said the people they are deleting. Because remember, we got to go back to the law that we've been under. They have a right to traffic you. If they move you over water, this gives them the right, because this is the law. We're still operating. It goes back to the Vatican, back to the royals. All roads lead to Rome. Rome has to crumble and it has to go. And I've done so much work on the Rome template, the religious template earlier this year. It will have to crumble because it is holding our energy hostage. Now we understand when people talk about the reincarnation soul, trap and cycling. It's the energy, your kinetic energy. See, what they're trying to do is traffic God. Thank you, Source. Because God is the energy. Source is the vibration, which all things emanate from. It even births a physical God to now be in charge of the multi-sphere of the universe, right? It has energy to move. So we are all God in motion. So this is what they need, because remember, they are not humans. They're not. And they're not human because all the sick things they do. Human beings that are birth of spirit and soul cannot do such things. And this is why they have to implant part of their reptilian code and reptilian brain into the gene pool of humanity, because they want to turn us into them. But no, it's us leading the charge. And so all we must do, we got a very beautiful opportunity this year, the 9. We see it because we got to the end of the loop. We got off of the train where they're trying to loop us around, and we got back on to see the ritual that they're about to take place with Pope Francis, his birthday, December 17th. They're about to use some sort of 369 energy, frequency, and vibration magic, and the altars that they have us and all of our birth certificates on the altar of distress. What's happening to the stock market right now? It's an altar of distress. People are distressed. They are purposely leading this thing down for the ritual, the siphon of the ritual, because they know that where do you put your energy? You put your energy into your job to get what? The fiat, the money. And so when you put your money into the stock market, that's your energy. That's what they're using. One of the things that they're using to siphon. But when you know what you know, that is one of their tools. When you see it rise and fall, you do nothing. You feel nothing. I feel nothing when it goes down. That's what they want. They want to get you on their altar of distress if you allow yourself to go that low. But just know every time it goes low is a buying opportunity. It's not a selling opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to beat them at their own system. They are betting that you will sell out. They are betting that they will put you on their altar of distress and lower your frequency when they lower the price. But what we do is we just stay stoic and still and stealth-like, and we wait for the cosmic time clock, which is a shift in energy, because you are birth of energy. And who is energy? Energy is Father God, and you have the energy oozing through your veins. There is no way to be separate from it. So they create these divisionary debt instruments, such as religion and churches. Now, not all churches. I've been in some beautiful churches, and there are some people who really know this word, and they are really about that life. And I think it's beautiful, and I respect that. But when we zone back and we peel back the organization is birthed from the Vatican. The Vatican has to feed their dark lord, who are not human. And so therefore, it all trickles down to the siphoning and the trafficking of us as human cargo, because we are operating in a maritime law. Admiralty, maritime law. And guys, like the video, please subscribe to the channel, because you know they're going to be hating on this one. Source did a big one. See, this ain't me. I'm just a crazy girl that fasted for like a year. And I started to hear from God. And God's like, I want you to write this down. I got some messages for you. And I'm like, me, God? Like, yeah, you. I'm like, okay, let me write it down. And then we end up creating a book together. I was crazy enough to just keep showing up and writing stuff down. And I was like, oh boy, I think we're creating a Bible, a cosmic Bible. I was like, okay. And I understood the calling. But at first I was ignorant to this. I was just following the source codes unknowingly of what that was. There was just an urge for me to do it. I just had a knowing that this is what I need to do. And guys, I did a little bit of automatic drawing while we were sitting here listening to him. And look guys, what popped up. Look, now don't this just look like Scribble Scrabble to you? Yes, it does. But hold on. I'm going to show you something. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Wait. Let's turn this. There's a face there. This is the Pope. All of this chaos here, this is Scribble Scrabble chaos. This is the energy field that they got us in. But wait, I'm gonna turn this to the left, because you know, to the left. That's where the entities are found, to the left. That's a nose. That's the head. That's the chin down here. That's the Pope. You can see it more if I turn it this way. Now from another angle. Look, that's even the eyes. We got a little piece of hair right there. That's the nose. That's a little mouth or mustache. That's the jawline. That's the Pope. That's the energy of the Pope. And his birthday's coming up. His birth date, the year of his birth date, 1936. We add that up, we get 10, which reduce the 1 plus 0, reduces it back down to 1. Next year, 2026, we add that up, we get 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. This man will try to resurrect himself. All of his birth dates, remember the birth dates are part of the codes. He fits the code. And when he's a representation, it's not just Pope Francis, you know. He could be a good person. I don't know, but I'm telling you what source said. But he's representing the organization. When I'm getting after people, I'm getting after who they are working for. It's just like if you work for a company, oh, you see a Trump, that's Trump here. It's one of them, but but don't he look dead? This man looked dead. This man looks dead to me. Y'all, you can't make none of this up. Why would you? I mean, how many books could I have written? I think that someone can start typing out all of these psychic investigations. It's a whole book. I mean, it's like multiple different books. Like, he looks dead, doesn't he? Is he? Yes. Whatever this thing is, looks dead. I'm telling you, this feels like Pope. Could be Trump because Trump, it wasn't Trump. It was the Pope. So maybe the Pope has body hopped into Trump. Because remember, I kept saying this ain't Trump. There's entities in there. Remember, I kept saying it's the entity, the entity. The entity is attached to Pope Francis. It may not be Pope Francis per se, but Pope Francis is leading us to the entity that is attached through that line. It's all about the Roman Catholic, which it's the religion that introduced all of this reptilian codes and the maritime law, taking us from where our original soul spark originated in this side of the universe, which was on water. The water you're born with, the spirit consciousness. We were once of water. And I think that the water in the body is also a remembrance as well. And one day we would wake up to these codes, and we have. And so we now know what to pray about. We now know what to fast about to stop the ritual, because he wants to loop himself back into our new beginning, the year of the one, leaving this old age behind. And as Mother of the Ages, I was always going to find out about this. I was always going, because it's my job. That's why I came here. The source codes led me to even incarnate as Tahira. Tahira is a willing participant to allow Mother of the Ages to do her work. And I thank you dearly. And I just want to thank, honestly, I just want to thank Tahira, because I'm just like how I thanked my other, fragment, past life Lisa, who led me to this. And Tahira has she's been phenomenal. This avatar, this mind, like her mind. I love her mind. I love her mind, and I love her heart. And I'm speaking as from the work that we need to do as part of Source. That even there are parts of Source that want to work through you, so that we can all help humanity be uplifted out of this trafficking circle that we've been in for how long? And so there is specialities about yourself as well. Because if it's happening to me, I know it's happening to you guys. You wouldn't even be here on this channel right now to even listen to these messages. You could be anywhere. But what are the chances that you are right here? Is because you are part of the soul cluster. You are part of the answer. You are part of the calling. You are. And you can hold the vibration. I know that you can. And I know that you are. And so now we know what to pray about, what to fast about. We will not allow him or anyone else to loop us back around when we are getting a brand new age and beginning, because how we end this year of the 2025, is how we go into the new vibration of the new age that lasts approximately 2,150 years. And so we have a lot riding on this. We have a lot riding on this. Thank you so much. Is that a link that you sent, Shannon? I don't really answer links. I'm sorry. I get a message about links when people send me links. So I like just to send the clipping of it or email me, because the links are also part of linking us in, tethering us, tying us in. So it's kind of a whole nother law, I think, that they're trying to build out as of the water, Maritime law. Eventually we're going to figure this out. And I think that the new way that they are linking us in and will be, having access to us and our energy is, through AI and through the internet and through sending links. And when you click on it, you are in agreement to the entire thread and the blockchain, all of that stuff. So now, guys, look at it. We see their old system, the ending of 2025, but their new system, we're already kind of in the beginning of it, but not all the way. And their new system is, linking us, online, and, through all of these chains, and everything has to have a password and a chain and all of this stuff. That's the new system, but it's a springboard off of maritime law. It's still trafficking. Now they're just trafficking you online. And we got to put it into that as well. Do you see how we're finding all of their tools and we're breaking them? And let me tell you, you are just as powerful. There's nothing that I'm doing that anyone else cannot do. I am just listening. I am just being present, not worrying about the bills, and my man and my kids and my whatever, just being focused and just present for the source codes. That's all that I'm doing. We all have the same ability, and that's why they distract us. They want to keep us away from ourselves, because you are literally made up of God energy and the water, the spirit consciousness of the source vibration, girl. So, okay, Shannon. Oh no, it's just, I keep seeing the color orange everywhere. Oh, okay. Face, fuchsia, flower, shape, face, fuchsia. Okay, orange. And you know what? Thank you, Shannon, because, orange in this book, it talks about the, what humanity, oh my God, y'all, we gonna be here all night long. Oh my God. Shannon, I don't know if you read the Great Expansion, the Cosmic Bible, but what humanity is transiting through right now is the cleansing out of our collective sacral chakra, which is orange. When we think about sacral, we think about water. When we think about sacral, we think about literally when you give birth, like your all of your reproductive organs is around the sacral chakra. So we are cleansing that out on a collective scale. We are moving away from the maritime law. And so it makes sense that there will be a purge out and a cleansing out of our collective sacral chakra. And the reason why their system will fall is because humanity is clearing them out of our collective soul body, our collective sacral chakra. And Shannon, you have just brought a code. You have participated in source codes. You are telepathic. You are tuned in. You are tapped into the vibration of source. Thank you. Thank you. And thank all of you. And so Natalie says, on the 9th, my daughter just turned 18. I pray for Rosh HaKadosh, Ruach Ashkadesh, Mother Source, to flow through Holy Spirit, her with his love, guiding her in all her ways, awakening her spirit with truth, growing with inner peace and wisdom. Yes, 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 I co-sign that. Our children will be fine, guys. These kids are smart. Just continue to lead them and step back. Don't be afraid to step back, and they might surprise you. They might just surprise you. These children are ready. They're born and birth of higher vibrational codes. These children are ready. Long live Trump. All right, I'm reading the comments here. Yay, Shannon, awesome. Wow, yes, you guys are ready. Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Sonia, for checking in on that sound, making sure the sound is good to deliver this divine message. And we will see what's happening, but we got to continue this because no, they're not about to loop us around. You need to stay gone, Pope Francis, stay gone. And we got to get out of this maritime law because there will be trafficking. There will be legal slavery. This is why they were able to do it, because it's a form of human trafficking, which is in the law, which all roads lead back to Rome. Okay. I love you guys so much, to the moon and back, the stars and all of that. I love you. I love you. I love you. And so it is as we walk together in divine love. Be well, y'all. Bye.